Well, first of all, before we start, on behalf of Colorado State University and Rocky Mountain Constructors, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been an awesome handful of weeks working together and delivering this big package to you for the Fort Lauderdale Aquatic Center. Here's our presentation. First, let's meet the team. My name is Aiden Flint. I work in the PCS department at Rocky Mountain Constructors. I am your pre-construction manager for this project. I will be working on your budget, your risk assessment, and the constructability reviews.
My name is Natalie. I'm your senior safety manager for this project, and I will be addressing all safety concerns during the project.
My name is Ethan Field. I am your senior superintendent. I will be your main point of contact for any field questions you have throughout the project, as well as past CO.
My name is Joel Ibarra. I'm your project manager, and I'm going to make sure there's effective communication between trade partners, ourselves, and you, the owner.
Thanks, team. So a little company overview and background of who we are. We were headquartered and founded in Denver, Colorado, founded in 1946 to be exact. Some sectors we specialize in, obviously commercial development and construction, hospitality, water and wastewater, infrastructure, and pool construction. Just to name a few. Some construction services that we specialize in, other than general contracting, would be construction management services, design build, and pre-construction services. Like I said, we're headquartered in Denver, Colorado, but we do have 11 locations across the US, totaling at 24 total offices. 3 of those offices being in our home state of Florida and our home city in Fort Lauderdale.
Before we begin the bulk of our presentation, we just want to give you a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about today, that including our relevant experience and just talk about some of the aquatic center projects we have already worked on here in Florida. Then we'll jump into our construction phases, talk about our 5 major construction phases, one of those including the additional scope added to the project, and end off with the schedule and budget recap.
Awesome, thank you, Joel. So some relevant experience and some relevant projects that we deemed to be successful for your project. One being the Marguerite Aquatic Center complex in California. The next being the Coral Springs Aquatic Center in Florida. And then lastly, the Florida Aquatics Swimming and Training Center. All of these projects have had pre-cast members, a lot of cast in place concrete, as well as dive towers, grandstands, removable bulkheads, and sporting pools just like your project. Some big takeaways we had from these relevant projects were that we gained good relationships with our pool subcontractor and our dewatering trade partners that we'll be using for your project. So I just want to go over a top 5 cost breakdown. I want to highlight the top 5 scopes that have the most costs allocated to them. First, we'll be starting with Division 13. This is your special construction scope. This consists of your entire swimming pool package to streamline things for ownership. This also consists of your sheet piles and your bracing, your electronic timing and your scoreboard systems, as well as your grandstands package. Next, I want to dive into Division 3, your concrete scope. This comes just over $8 million. This is all other cast in place concrete, not including those of the pools. This consists of your scoreboard foundation and erection, your pool decks, your slab on grades, and your subgrades such as the grade beams on your project. This scope also will include your complete dive tower package. Next, I want to dive into Division 31, your earthwork package at $5.5 million. This is your entire earthwork package, including the excavation for those pools. This is also going to cover all of your auger, cast grout, and helical piles. Next, I wanted to combine your MEPs. The MEP electrical, mechanical, and plumbing comes at just over $3 million. This is the entire package for all of your MEPs. Lastly, I wanted to cover your Division 2, your existing conditions. This is just under $900,000, and this consists of your entire demolition and your entire dewatering package for Step 1 and Step 2 of construction.
Our first major phase is Phase 1, which consists of initial mobilization, initial demolition, and underground utilities. Before we actually begin Phase 1, we're going to do our procurement process, which consists of procuring and obtaining all necessary permit items to ensure that we could start construction. Then we'll move to our procurement, getting our procurement items. We submitted a procurement log / submittal log to the judge panel and to the owner, listing all of the critical items for the different phases of construction. Some of those include, but not limited to, the dive tower shop drawings and fabrication process, as well as the elevator and the muscle lighting features.
Thank you, Joel. A few things I want to point out for the site utilization plan is our traffic flow. Our main entrance will be on the east side. We have a muster point and visitor check-in on the southeast side. We will be installing our settlement tanks as well as our dewatering wells in preparation for our excavation. We will be self-performing the demo work of the asphalt road on the north side of the construction site, and then begin our utility tie-in from the water main to the Hall of Fame building.
Thanks, Ethan. At RMC, our top priority throughout all of our projects is safety. As such, I will be highlighting the main safety concerns throughout each phase in the project. Plans show existing seawall tiebacks on the north end of the site, located on our site utilization plan in the red area. To avoid contact with these members, we will be implementing a permitting process for all trades working in this area. In addition, demolition of existing buildings will start during phase 1, so we will ensure that abatement testing is completed prior to demolition to give ample time to alert the owner if any hazardous materials are found.
Thank you, Natalie. This leads us to our phase 2, which consists of our heavy demo, heavy excavations, auger cast piles, and our helical piles. As your project manager, I would ensure that we look ahead into phase 3 during this phase to ensure that, again, we procure and look over the fabrication of the dive tower. That way we have it installed before any hurricane season comes along.
Thank you, Joel. Before we begin any demolition and excavation, we'll be receiving underground utility clearance from utility companies as well as the respective AHJs. I would like to point out the temporary parking we have for any owners or inspectors, and I would like to hand it off to Natalie.
Thank you, Ethan. During phase 2, with heavy demolition and excavation activities, we have included a contingency for 24-hour site monitoring. This will allow us to monitor the site continuously and also give us the opportunity to view time-lapse construction and address any concerns as necessary.
Perfect. This leads us to phase 3, which consists of subgrade foundations, new facilities, new pools, and then that new dive tower. Like our last phase, we want to ensure that we are working towards phase 4 as your project manager. We will be looking into getting our checklist and any other documentations ready for commissioning so that process is smooth.
So for the phase 3, we will be constructing our pools, first starting off with the competition pool and then the dive pool, and then the other buildings after that. I'll be working closely with our trustworthy pool contractor, Jack Jamber. We've been working with them on the past few projects. We absolutely love working with them, and I'll hand it off to Natalie after this.
During phase 3, our top safety concerns lies within the heavy crane activity and erection of the precast dive tower. Through careful calculations, we have determined a 250-ton crane necessary for the erection of the dive tower. This will put the crane at roughly 75% of its capacity without nearing its maximum. In addition, we will be using a 20-ton mobile crane as necessary for large picks such as the RTU on Building B, as well as the scoreboard.
Perfect. Thanks, Natalie. And this leads us to phase 4, which is our site improvements, punch list, and commissioning process. As mentioned, I'll be working with our superintendent, Ethan, to ensure that your commissioning process and punch list items are, that you're guided through that process effectively, and you understand the step-by-step process for those critical items.
Yeah, I will be performing pre-functional checklist with our quality control manager, Spencer, before any inspectors come and take a look at what we've completed. I will be keeping track of any loose end items, punch list items on the software of choice. And Natalie? Or, yeah.
Cool. And this leads us to our additional scope of work added to the project. First and foremost, we want to congratulate you for getting and allocating the budget to build the new south building. We have this currently happening after phase 4, but as a project team, we would like to further collaborate with the city and the owner to ensure that we're able and effectively able to add that scope of work into our phase 3, which would save you 2 months of construction activities.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So let's just go over a quick schedule and budget overview. So some VE items that we want to discuss with you. Utilizing shotcrete for these pools instead of cast in place. This might save you 10% of savings on your cast in plate material. Next, I would like to recycle all that demo material that we're taking off your site and give that money back to you. Next, something we want to further discuss is the use of office space rental for those employees entering the West Building, rather than having all those temporary logistics set up. Some just general overview of our company and our PCS department. We have a repeat client rate of 99.2%, as well as a bid acceptance ratio of 8 to 10, meaning every 10 projects we bid on, we win 8 of those.
Now, your original project schedule is 2 years, months, but now with that additional added scope, we're looking at 2 years and 5 months. Again, if with the owner and any other stakeholder, we'd like to collaborate further and discuss our plan in bringing that phase 5 into our phase 3 sequence to shorten the timeline by 2 months.
And finally, to overview the total cost, including step 1 and step 2, you're looking at just over $44 million. Thank you, guys. We would like to open the floor for questions.
Yeah, question on the tiebacks. Is there any contingency plan in place if one of those are damaged or, fail during your work?
Contingency in schedule or contingency in budget?
Contingency, and if one of those fail, what's the plan of action for your team? Was one considered?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely consider that and discuss further how you would go about it. We will definitely hold a contingency in our budget for sake of replacing items like that, and that'll be at expense to us.
Can you guys walk us through your dewatering plan and talk about what system you're going to be using?
Yeah, so for the dewatering plan, we will begin installing the dewatering wells in phase 1, making sure that they're ready for phase 2. We will have the 2 settlement tanks on the north side of the construction site. We will be using sump pumps and be dewatering as much as possible during our excavation, ensuring that all the water is cleared.
I'll expand on that question. Where's the water going once it leaves the settlement tanks?
Yeah, so after the settlement tanks, the water will be let out in the intercoastal waterways.
Is there any testing, any concerns about doing that? What
Yeah,
do you need?
so in the settlement tanks, we will be performing testing, ensuring that the water is safe to let out in the intercoastal waterways. So we will be taking care of that, ensuring that the water is clean.
So we're very concerned with lead times right now with switchgear and panels and lighting. So what's your plan to kind of mitigate some risk there for us?
Absolutely, that's definitely a concern in the construction industry, and it's something definitely that we as a team address that and talk to the owner as well as other stakeholders, including our trade partners, to facilitate a well thought out plan. And so one of our plans is, again, we did submit a submittal log that analyzes which are our critical items that we need and that we're going to work towards pushing towards the architect. We also want to collaborate with, again, the architect a little bit further to do a early release package if possible. That way we get those items, that design, into our review and push that out again to our engineers.
Thank you.
We've got a vested stake in this pool. We've got some interest in it being, hopefully a world record-setting pool and a feature of the community that's known around the world. With that comes, a requirement to be extremely precise in the pool construction. What technology do you all propose to use to help you meet those really tight and strict tolerances?
Yeah, so we'll be working with a 1/16 tolerance for all construction. We have a surveyor on site making sure that all construction is where it should be. We'll be using toll stations in order to complete the work.
Question for you on some value engineering that you proposed. Currently, your schedule shows you completing at the end of August 2026. Just last night, the mayor came to us and asked us to finish the job by the beginning of summer. What are a couple of options that you guys are thinking about that we can pull 2 months out of the schedule?
Yeah, kind of how I mentioned in that previous question, if we can work with the architect and collaborate together and to ensure that we are able to get some of those designs early released in the package. We're willing to work towards reducing that month. Currently, we did sequence our auger piles to reduce it by a month, where we have those auger piles happening. We have 2 augers on site happening at the same time, and we're able to do something similar to ensure that we are working towards reducing that schedule 2 months. But that's further communication we could have with our creative partners and see what they feel most comfortable doing. But yeah, thank you.
How do you plan on accommodating our largest partner here in Fort Lauderdale with the boat show on the annual basis of your operations?
Yeah, so for the boat show, as described in that change order, we will be holding contingency for any safety measures, extra safety measures, as well as delivery problems. And with that, we will gladly work with you to collaborate and mitigate any risks that arise during that.
So while we're talking about boats, you're surrounded by boats. Several of them are valued greater than the total project. You have a lot of cutting, welding, dust. What do you have in place to take care of a boat that actually gets damaged? How are you going to handle that? Does that fall back on us as the owner? Does it fall on the city? Does it fall on your subcontractor? How are you going to handle that?
Oh, that most definitely does not fall on you guys. We will be controlling all dust using water. We have priced out in our bid package a water truck for any demolition work, for any earth work. And given our process of hot work permits and so on, we will have constant monitoring and mitigation for dust control.
I'd like to expand on that. So within your general conditions, you did not carry any cost for dumpsters or dump fees.
Correct.
What's your plan for waste management and all the waste that's going to come off of this project?
Yep, so if you see our clarifications and assumptions, we actually carried that cost for dump fees in Division 41 of our CSI exhibit.
Okay.
I'm the commissioner of the beach district, and I've got a lot of the neighbors come to me concerned about noise. And what's your plan to communicate to my constituents to let them know what activities are coming up and what they can expect?
During our pre-construction phase, we actually engage with local businesses to ensure that they are aware that what construction operations are going to happen throughout the duration of each phase. And then we'll also invite them to our OAC meetings if we do have any critical construction operations happening that may disrupt either traffic flow or overall noise pollution of the environment near that aquatic center.
Local trade partner participation is important to us on this project. Can you tell me how you're going to go about engaging the local subcontractor community?
Yep, so our local subcontractors, we have an office in Fort Lauderdale. We are all from the office in Fort Lauderdale and have been doing pool projects for decades now. And like our relevant projects, we found our friendly pool and dewatering and excavation contractor. Our pool contractor is amazing, and we've been working on with them ever since our first pool project.
Can you elaborate for me your commissioning plan, and if you have enough time in the schedule to accommodate all the commissioning?
Yeah, so for the commissioning plan, we'll be carrying out our pre-functional checklist, making sure that before inspectors come, that all equipment is running how it should be. And then I will be walking with our quality control manager, Spencer, with the inspectors during the commissioning.
Along with that, we have an in-house MEP coordinator, and that MEP coordinator almost acts as a commissioning agent and tracking items getting put in place throughout the duration of the project to make sure that we're hitting all of our commissioning deadlines and hitting the provided schedule to you.
Yeah, I've got a quick question here. Looking at your pool deck pour sequence, what's your plan to protect the existing pool decks once you place them when you're moving forward to your next sequence to ensure the new work's not damaged?
Yep, so we actually priced out in our general conditions enough linear footage of VisQueen applications to cover the entirety of the pool deck.
Thank you.
The shotcrete VE item you offered up, is there any loss of quality or performance with that?
Yep, and that's exactly why we chose, and our pool contractor suggested to use cast in place for all your pools and your spa. Now, if we do use shotcrete and save you that 10% in concrete material, it's a little bit porous, and it does come with a little more quality issues and quality concerns, but that's something that we wanted to discuss with you to weigh the options and see if it was applicable.
Question for you guys. In your clarification assumptions, you guys priced a CAD expert for 1 month. Do you guys think this is enough time with the coordination of EDC to ensure with a project this complex that you can make it through your coordination with no issues?
Yep, yeah, so our CAD department and our BIM department in our PCS department at Rocky Mountain Constructors is very efficient, and with talking with them and overviewing the plans and the specs and everything, they deemed it reasonable for 1 month.
I got a question. During the safety topic with cranes, you guys mentioned 75% lifts, which would put us into a critical lift scenario. Are you thinking that's a lot of the picks, or can we look at bigger cranes to reduce the nature of critical lifts? What's going on there?
Yeah, so based on our prior experience, we've estimated that the panels weigh between 1 and 3 tons. So if the maximum weight is 3 tons, then the crane capacity would not go over that 75%, and we feel that that is a safe margin of error for us.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more question.
All right, I have a question for you regarding your total RFP. This is not a reflection of your score, so please answer honestly. This is just information for the judges. Did you use ChatGPT in the preparation of your presentation and/or RFP submission?
No ChatGPT was used.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank you. That brings a close to our Q&A session.